Our next guest broke one of the early signings in Major League Baseball free agencies. The Blue Jays dip into the international free agent pool today, and they sign Cuban prospect Lourdes Gurriel Jr., an infielder, 7 years, $22 million today. Jesse Sanchez from MLB.com had this kid ranked 6th in his international prospect rankings this May. Good afternoon. How are you? Thanks for the time.
Hey, great greetings from Phoenix, Arizona.
Listen, it's been few and far between. There's the Dickey deal. There's Bartolo Colon goes to the same spot earlier today, and now the Blue Jays sign a kid that will be new to me anyway, new to a lot of fans. Mm-hmm. What can you tell me about him? Is this a coup? Did it surprise you today?
You know what? Not really. I cover a lot of international for MLB.com, and the Blue Jays have a long history on the international front. Even going, they were one of the pioneers in the Dominican Republic. Vladimir Gurriel Jr. Gurriel Jr. a couple of years ago. So I'm not shocked. But what you're getting is a young player. He's 23 years old. He's versatile. He can play the outfield. He can play the infield. He comes from the famous Gurriel family of Cuba. His older brother, Yulieski, signed a deal with the Astros during the summer. He's 32 years old. And the older brother was basically kind of like the Michael Jordan of Cuban baseball, I guess. He won gold medals, all these gold, different Olympic medal. He won gold medals at all these international tournaments. He played, MVP. He was just a superstar in Cuba. And this was the youngest brother. They're actually 3 brothers. So, the family bloodline is there. I'm not sure he's as talented as his older brother, Yulieski, who's with the Astros. But that's, Yulieski's also, he was probably one of the best players in the world at his prime. So I don't know if it's even easy, fair to compare the brothers that way. But I think the Blue Jays and a lot of people who scouted him, they like the kid's versatility. They like that he can play in the middle of the infield. They like that he can play in the outfield. He can run. And he played for the Havana Industriales, which was like one of the most historic teams in the Cuban League. So he has history there. He waited until he turned 23 so he can sign as an unrestricted free agent. Otherwise, he would have signed under the international pools where, Vladdy Jr. and all those other guys signed. It's a very interesting sign. It's a very interesting acquisition. He has a lot, there's a skill set, there's some tools there. And I think the consensus or just kind of the thought process out there was like, the abilities there, they just kind of want to see that continue to grow and develop, but there's tons of potential there.
Yeah, it's a long-term deal. It's not a lot of dough. I mean, we've grown accustomed, I think, and you're immersed in this international, baseball culture. And for us, the first time we hear a lot of us of a guy like, Alexei Ramirez or a guy like Jose Abreu or Yoenis Cespedes, the first time we hear they're signing these monster deals to come over. And more often than not, the scouting is there that they just become impact players right away.
Right, and I think that's the hope here. Remember, this guy played professionally in Cuba, the highest league. He comes from a baseball family. People have compared the Gurriels to the Alou family, to the Boone, the Boone family. The Griffeys. So baseball is in his blood. So I think there are definitely high hopes there. $22 million contract is not tons of money. Obviously, it's still a lot, but grand scheme of things. And I think the Blue Jays were just optimistic, and they hope he can develop into, a star.
So, I mentioned Alexei Ramirez. He comes over from Cuba. Jose Iglesias did the same. Adeiny Hechavarria, who Jays fans know well, did the same. But the way you described him, he's not a pure infielder at this point, that you could see him playing multiple positions?
That was the last scouting report. He had a private showcase. No, he had a public showcase for all teams in September. And I think since then he's had private workouts. And he could have made progress. I mean, he could have maybe potentially nailed down a position by that time. But I know he was trying out at shortstop. He took some balls at second base. He'd taken some balls in center field and just all across the outfield. I think it's going to be, whatever the club needs. He's the kind of guy who's kind of versatile. He has, pretty good variety of skill set, and they feel he can probably fill into a number of spots there. So probably what the Blue Jays are looking for is, whatever there's an area of need. I can see him, because of his versatility, because of his age, because of his talent, moving into, what the organization wants.
Mm-hmm. And we're talking 2017 spring training here. Does he sign in Toronto without thinking, hey, this is going to be a real good opportunity for me to play as soon as possible?
Of course. Remember, this is their dream. I mean, they leave Cuba, they leave their family behind, they leave their life behind, and it's not to come play in the minor leagues. As much as obviously the money is very attractive, and that's part of the equation. But these guys want to play in the big leagues, and they want to play as soon as possible. I was in the Dominican Republic in February. There was a Caribbean series. Both Julieski and Lourdes played in the Caribbean series. On the final day, that's when they defected and became a national and international story, because they are heroes in their country. They have family members who are connected to the Castro government. So when they left, when both brothers decided to leave, Julieski, arguably the best player in Cuba ever, and Lourdes, who was a top prospect and the younger brother in this famous baseball family, it was monster news. And I talked to them periodically over the summer, and they wanted to make their dreams come true, and their dream was to play in the big leagues. And so Julieski signed with the Astros. He's in the big leagues a month later. I'm not sure what the timetable is going to be on Lourdes. Obviously, that's the organization's decision and how they view his progress.
Mm-hmm.
But the kid's going to need games. He's going to need spring training. I mean, I won't be surprised to see him in the minor leagues to start the season. And that's not really a knock on him. It's just the fact that he hasn't played in competitive games, and he's going to need games. So as a 23-year-old, he's still a young player. So I envision him, having a spring training, maybe even extended spring training, and then, get him off into the minor leagues and kind of see where he is.